Hello. So today, I decided to. I'm late. Man, I was almost this close to actually being on time for the show, but it inevitably never happened. So, what I decided to do today is something a little different. So, welcome to Pure Sessions with your girl Lana. Lana and Pure. This is episode 42. Yeah, I just had to make sure that was the right date. So I'm doing something new. So instead of me doing the lives like every week, here on YouTube, I'm probably gonna do a shorter version of the show, like maybe 15, 20, 25 minutes. No, 20, 25 minutes. No. 30 minutes. That's my new goal. I'm gonna try to time myself. To talk under 40 minutes. That's the goal I've been trying to get myself to do. Even with the sax sessions, I try to make those like 30 minutes because it is tiring, to just be on for so long. Especially, not that I don't know what I'm doing, but I try to give like a little bit of nuggets here, a little bit of nuggets there, instead of like overload information because it's so much at one time. It's kind of like a lot. Even if somebody's watching it, like if I'm watching something, it's like too much information, so much. Typically, I need like time to process it. So like, give me a couple of days, and then it'll come back. But that's my new goal with this. So today, I will only be doing it on Instagram Live. And my new thing is, I want to test something out that my coaching. I don't say my coaching, but Joe, we do his paper without degree, suggested to do a little sprinkle here and sprinkle there. I don't want to give you all the secrets, but I'm going to try something out. I'm going to see how it works for this week. Give it like a little trial basis, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago with what I was doing, to have pure sessions on Thursdays now instead of Sundays, which has been much better. I feel like Thursdays is kind of like a good day to be on, social media. Not that the other days aren't, but like some days are better than most. More people on certain times throughout the day, things like that. So I'm learning. I'm learning to build a brand. I'm learning to build my page. I'm learning to network and expand on, making pure sessions, bigger than it is, which is the goal, So I'm learning every day. I'm so new to this whole podcast thing, so I know I keep saying this, but just give me some time and it'll be all right. But yeah, so this is episode 42, and you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that jazz, at Lana Pure. And the episodes are on Thursdays. And yeah, so let's get into it. So originally I was going to do this episode outside, because hence the title, Changing Your Surroundings. I was going to have a different, background, different layout, and things like that. I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing my pug calendar. Oh, I had changed that. It's July now. My Snoop Dogg and Tupac. Not that I don't mind it being there, but it's always good to kind of like spruce up, your surroundings. Especially, if you're doing work, if you're doing something creative that requires you to be sitting in a long period of time, or that's something that's not just a one and done thing, you're doing it multiple times. It is nice to move around, whether it be, you don't have to leave the house. It could be in a different room, be in the kitchen, it could be out back, on your porch, whatever. You don't have to like go somewhere. It could just be in a different spot than it normally is. So like for me today, since it rained, that's why I didn't go outside, because everything was wet and gross. But I was going to be like in the park, or I was probably going to sit out back, because it's sometimes you need to clear your mind. Sometimes being in a different spot, being in a different environment, even for a short period of time, kind of helps with whatever you're going through. Kind of clears your mind on things, because if you're kind of just looking at the same thing over and over again, and you're just surrounding yourself with the same four walls and the same pictures and the same bed, or the same energy, it kind of gets a little redundant. And not like it's a bad thing to be comfortable, because you should be comfortable in your home, but sometimes it's nice to go to the park and do your podcast, or go to the beach and do your podcast, something like that, or do your podcast on the go. Like I've watched and listened to some podcasters, potters, whatever you want to call it, who do like maybe 15-20 minutes of their show, and they're kind of like on the go, so you're kind of seeing like what they're doing throughout their day, like their daily things. And I thought of doing that, but like with COVID, it's kind of hard to kind of like talk and walk with the mask and kind of worry about your surroundings and things like that. Maybe in the fall, I might try that because I think that's pretty cool. That you can kind of see, people's journey with what they're doing, things like that. So I think that's pretty cool. So like I said, learning slowly but surely, I'm gonna get there. But sometimes also, I know for me when I was in school and I did classes, online, it kind of got a little crazy because I was always at home, or I was always in the computer, or I was always stationed. I never was going to class, interacting with people, seeing different buildings, seeing different things and stuff like that. So it kind of got a little, not depressing, but it kind of got a little like blah. Like I was in the funk. Like I felt like I couldn't really grow, because I felt like not grow, couldn't really learn as I didn't think I could get or absorb all the information that I normally would have if I was in a classroom or if I was with somebody or we were doing like a partner project. And for me personally, I did enjoy doing things online, doing the classes online versus in the school. But that was only when I got towards like my senior year. Like in the beginning, obviously you're new to the school, you kind of just don't know what you're doing. You're just kind of like all over the place. But sometimes it did help me focus and just channel in with just focusing on one thing versus having to worry about parties or meeting friends or going to this thing, going to that thing. It did force me, I will say, when I did the 2 semesters online, to just focus on school and focus on what's like really important. Because after a while, after you get the partying, almost dropped that. After you get the partying out of the way, it kind of gets a little redundant to just be going to the same bars and going to the same clubs and blah 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 blah. It's like there's more. It's like more important things that could be happening. Not that partying in college isn't fun. It is, trust me. But after a while, you realize that the same parties, the same people, the same events will still be there. But really what's important and what you're like there for is to get a college education, even though it doesn't seem like that when you're missing the cake party and missing that. But sometimes you have to just prioritize just a little bit. Not that you need to, like not have a social life, but it's just more so like a balance. It's all about balancing. And for me, it was always a struggle to try and find a balance with school, to try to find a balance with work, because I was working through the semester and things like that. And honestly, I didn't know how to do it because I was new to doing this on my own, and I kind of like fell off the wagon, like we all do when we're first going to school, because like I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, it was my first time being away at school, so I kind of like, we all do, you want to go to all the parties, you don't want to go to class, you don't have anybody watching you, there's no curfews and things like that. So for me, I kind of just forgot about school, and I kind of just went to the parties, and I laugh now. I mean, it wasn't fun then because I never really passed any of the classes, but I laugh now looking back on myself saying, would I do the same thing again the way I did it? And honestly, I would, but the only thing different that I would do is probably join like a group, like a sorority, because that was like my big thing. I always wanted to join a sorority because that was like the coolest thing, the sisterhood, the community service, the camaraderie, blah, blah, blah. But I think everything else, like with the people I met at the parties I went to, blah, 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 I probably would do it all over again. But I would learn how to prioritize with school, prioritize with the friends and things like that. And for me, when I went to being in class all year, to my last 2 semesters, 1 being in a different school, and 2 it being at home, you're doing online classes, I kind of really could see that I could do this if I put my mind to it, because I never really was a big, I guess, scholar, school person, whatever you want to call it. I never really was a fan of learning for hours on end. I felt like I can just go out and do these adventures, like why am I learning about all this stuff? And I will say, school isn't for everybody, but I think it just really just comes down to what you're willing to absorb versus what you're willing not to do. Because for me, I was not good at math. I was not good at science. I was not good at chemistry. I was not good at history. So it was like a gym. It was really the only thing. And sometimes I wasn't even good at that. But really, I think the things that I had to learn was that this is for a reason. Like, obviously, school's not going to be fun. School's not going to be easy. Nothing is going to be easy. But if you're willing to put the work in, and it did pay off. I did get some good grades because I was kind of like a C pretty average in school, but I was like okay with that. And I knew people who would be like, if they got a B minus, they would lose their mind. But if I ever got a C, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can live. But people would be like, you got a C and you're okay with that? And I would be like, yeah, because it's a passing grade. I'm one of those who would be like, if a 71 percentage was my grade, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. I'm good. Keep going. But I guess for me, I just was one of those who procrastinate a lot. I was one of those who kind of do things kind of like just the right amount to pass, but not really put a lot of energy into it, depending on the courses. Like with geometry, I love geometry. Biology, I love biology. So I would put the efforts would show, the work would show. But when it came to like calculus and chemistry and like American history, I would be like, I don't even know what that is. You keep that over there. But I will say the things that I did learn in school, high school and colleges and things like that, I guess I do look at things differently. And I guess I do appreciate, going to the classes, getting that experience, because not everybody has that experience of going to school, homeschooled, online courses and things like that. And I just noticed that this thing, this background is kind of like a filter of those horns. Lord, I don't know if I can get rid of that, but we'll just ignore that. I don't know how to change that without stopping the live. But yeah, so sometimes when we want to be creative, if we're creative, sometimes if we want to try something new, it's always good to not stay in the same spot if you can help it. Sometimes it's just comfortable to be home, or comfortable to be at that library, or comfortable to be at that one bench. But sometimes it's nice to just spruce up your environment, because new things can spark. If you have writer's block, if you're studying for a class, if you're trying to read, if you're trying to write a proposal, or even just doing resume writing. I know when I was doing resume writing when I was in school, looking for a job, I would have to go to different spots every time. I'd be at home, I would always be at Starbucks, sitting at the high top tables, or even surprisingly, I would go to the museum and sit at the mat on the steps and write some things like that. But I would always I'm one of those who gets antsy if I'm in a spot too long, whatever it is I'm doing. If I'm writing or driving too long, if I'm sitting too long, if I'm doing something, like if I'm working on music, I need to stop after 3 hours and just walk around the house or something, and then come back and then do it, because I feel like your brain's just going, and you're not giving it a chance to rejuvenate and restart to get those juices back going, so you can be creative and be you and be amazing. Because sometimes there's things that we don't need to do to the last minute. By that I mean, we don't need to be working on something for 7 hours, and if we're writing the same line, if we're working on the same beat, or if we're still having that same thought of why we're not getting further along, then I think it's time to just not call it quits. Because sometimes if you're like me, I feel like if I don't finish the job fully, I pause and come back, I feel like I'm quitting, I feel like I'm giving up, and that's not really the case. You're not giving up, you're just giving your brain a mental space to just be like, okay, I'm gonna chill for a minute, and then I'll come back to doing this, if that makes sense. And for me, I would be like, let me just finish all these projects, and then when I'm done, I can relax. And then I'll start at 12, and then see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 to 12 maybe. No. I'm trying to think. How long would it take me to do it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm 8 hours. 8 or 9 hours. I don't know. Yeah, it really would depend on what I would be doing. Music, school, writing. Writing may have been about 5-6 hours, but it really depends on what chapter I was working on. Like when I was writing, some of the chapters would take longer than normal. I don't even think I have the book over here. Let's see. Can't reach it. Wait. This will stay. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. So for this book, page 228. No. Okay, so this one was 228. So this one is Jeremiah 31:2 verses 2 through 3. So people who survived the sword found grace in the wilderness. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, I have continued my faithfulness to you. So for me, I read these daily doses once a day. This one's actually 365 days to a healthy soul. So I read these once a day. And it's supposed to be at the beginning of the year, but I kind of forgot and kind of started like after January. But these daily doses, daily words, daily devotionals really help me think when I'm kind of like, oof, I almost broke that. Let's not put that there. Let's just put this here. I'll hold it. What was I saying? Yeah, they kind of help me think, help me focus on when I'm kind of like in a rut or stuck. And some of them I've marked down. So let's see and find another one that's my favorite. I don't think I have one. Wait, let's see about this one. Okay, so I can't find another one that I like, which is crazy because I have them all marked, but let's see. Let's see if I can find another one. I can't find one. Let's see. Alright, so I can't find another one. I really want to find one to make this point, so hold on. Okay, here it is. This one was Joshua 1:9. So, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So those are the two recent ones that I read. The other one was today. And this one was, what's today? That one was Tuesday. Okay, so I skipped today. But that one was Tuesday. And for me, I try to read these in the morning. Sometimes it gets in the afternoon. Like when I first wake up, I'm either doing some things or I kind of forgot about it. And I try not to forget about it because it kind of give me the boost, the energy that I need. Yes, I mentioned that I need to change my calendar. It just finished the last day, so I have to change that. But thank you. But yeah, so for me, I try to read these and I try to post a quote here and there from the ones that I like throughout the book, and some of the quotes on the back, because they're really helpful for people who are kind of having writer's block or just lack of faith or not sure where to go from there. So for me, reading these once a day kind of helps with what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to do, kind of how I want the day to flow and things like that. So for this, I have about 10 minutes left until this stops recording, because on Anchor, like I mentioned, for some reason it only lets you record for 30 minutes. I don't know why. I wish it would let you record for an hour or no limit, but it only lets you record for 30 minutes. So I usually stop it at like 29.20 seconds left, and then go from there. But I just always like to say that because sometimes when I was editing a couple episodes, like in the beginning when I first started using Anchor, it would cut off in the middle of me saying something before I knew that it stopped recording, because it kind of gives you a timer, like a minute left. But for this one, it was only blinking, and I didn't look at it, so I was in the middle of like closing out the quote, and then with this one, it started to freeze like it is right now. Okay, so it froze in Anchor, so that's fun. I don't know what that was. Okay, still recording. But yeah, so for me, the daily doses kind of help me go with how I want the day to be, because if I'm going to bed, sometimes I go to bed with something that's on my mind from the previous night or day, and I feel like, oh, I didn't accomplish this, or oh, I could have done this better, oh, I could have done this longer. But when I go to bed and I wake up and I read whatever whatever Bible verse it is, or whatever quote that's under the passage, it kind of rearranges my thought processing, because I'm an overthinker, and sometimes I'll go to bed overthinking what happened with, during that day and things like that. And if I don't find I can resolve it, for me, it's kind of like, nagging at me, like, I could have given this more time, or things like that. And for me, when I get frustrated or I feel like I'm boxed in or whatnot, I take a drive. I love driving, so I'll take a drive for about 1, 2, 3 hours and see where the road takes me and go from there. Because sometimes when I'm driving, I start singing a song or start thinking about this, or this favorite song comes on, and I'm just like, oh, I need to sing along to this. And then before I know it, I'm laughing and smiling because this song brought back these memories, or this song had this good verse in it, or this song had that high note that I've been trying to hit for like forever and a day. And usually I'll forget why I was upset when I first got in the car. And usually when we do things that kind of calm us, that kind of bring serenity to us, that kind of make us happy, that usually kind of clears the day up for us. It kind of usually changes things for us. But when we're just fixated on, this thing recorded. There we go. When we're just fixated on, just focusing on things, not changing any of our environment, not changing our stance, we kind of get in a standstill, especially during COVID, where we were just forced in the beginning to have to be home, to not be around people, not be around loved ones, to not do different things. It kind of messes with your brain, so you kind of fall into that depression stage, which is really not good, because when you get fixated on something and you get into that state, it's kind of like hard to get out of it. So I always try to think of something positive at least once a day. If you can't do something positive once a day, try to at least think of something positive once a day, because that thought process will follow another positive thought, and then that thought process will follow another positive thought, and so on and so on and so on. So if you can't do something positive that day, at least try to have a thought that's positive. Because I know for me, when I'm angry about something, or something didn't go my way, or this track didn't get saved, or whatever, I'll get upset and I'll get frustrated. But I'm one of those people who doesn't stay mad long, or doesn't stay upset long, unless it's something really big. But if it's something small, something trivial, I'll forget about it in like an hour or so, and I'll just be to myself, and then I'll come back to my normal bouncing self. And so for me, when I can't really do something that I feel like, oh my God, this is amazing, I'll think of something that brought a smile to my face, or think about an old memory, or going on a trip somewhere that was, so much fun, and I can't wait to do it again, type of thing. That's kind of the way that I look at things, in life, whether it be with music, whether it be with the job, whether it be with relationship, whether it be with money, financial things, student loans, debt, blah, blah, blah. I think if you try to look at something positive in those situations, if it's something even small that can kind of, turn everything around for you, I think that would really, really work, really help the day go a little smoother and smoothly, you know. But I really feel like if you want to create something, if you want to do something different, if you want to leave a mark or something on society or whatever you want to call it, I think it's good if you can at least once a week with whatever you're doing. You go something consistent, like if you're doing a podcast or if you're doing a song, working on a song, or if you're like writing a book or working on like a big project that requires a lot of time and energy. I feel like you should probably, you know, change the environment a little bit. Like I said, maybe 1 week go to the park, or 1 week, you know, move somewhere else in your house, or another week, you know, be at a friend's house or something like that, or sit in your backyard, or be on your drive and do like a on the go type of podcast. And it may not have to be as long as your normal shows or your normal writing things or what have you, but it could be something about 15-20 minutes. People can see everything, and it's kind of like you're doing something fun, you're doing something exciting that's not the normal of just, you know, wake up, sit down, have your coffee, eat, work on this project, then it's like 5, 6, 7 o'clock, it's time for dinner, go to bed, repeat. You know, you need to get out of that, you know, schedule if you can. Nothing wrong with having a schedule, but if you're trying to be creative, if you're trying to do something bigger than yourself, if you're trying to make a change or something, I think it's always good to not be in the same spot if you can't help it, at least for a bit, so at least your brain can kind of look at something else. And the energy is a little bit different than just the same thing every day, because the energy and the aura and the vibes can all be picked up, and that kind of shows your work or whatever you're doing. If it's kind of like rushed, if it's kind of like half-assed, if it's kind of like not your fully best type of thing. So I feel like, if nothing else, I feel like it's good to be somewhere different if you can help it. And even with COVID, if you're not doing anything creative, just with COVID, with now everything being lifted and everything being open and now everything being, you know, maskless and things like that, it's finally people running to go do what they were doing last year. People running to go be with their friends or family or whatever. And it's good to get out of the house. It's good to do something different in your schedule, because you're doing the same thing over and over again. It will get tiring. You will fall into that state. And I feel like if you do something different throughout the day that's not your normal routine, I feel like, you know, life can look a little bit easier. Life can feel a little bit not as long. The days don't feel as long if you're doing something different. Like if you can do something different once a day, like I mentioned before, do something different once a week. So like if you were working and doing the same thing every day, and it's like Thursday already, maybe go to the beach, or maybe go sit at a new restaurant that you were trying to go to for forever, and you know, now that you can get to it, or maybe go visit that friend, or have that phone call, have that FaceTime with somebody that you haven't spoken to in a while, that kind of can spruce up what you've been working on and what you've been doing daily, if that makes sense. And oddly enough, I feel like if you do that thing that's different, if you do something new throughout that day, I think it'll be fulfilling for you to recharge and regroup and restart. Because sometimes before you even know it, a creative thought or creative vibe can just pop out of you nowhere, pop out of you from nowhere, and then you're just like, oh, let me go write this down, or oh, let me go do this, or oh, let me go work on this music because I heard this thing and this goes with that. You know, some things can come out of nowhere when you give your body and your brain and your mental health a chance to just relax and regroup and restart, and then you can have the energy to notice this, or have the energy to want to try this, you know, versus just like a same thing over and over again. So I feel like if you change your surroundings once every now and then, I feel like, you know, it can go a little smoother. You know, your creative mind can be a little bit at ease, and so on and so forth. So for me, if you don't take anything else from this episode, like I said, it's going to be short, under 30 minutes. Do something different. I always say at the end of every episode, do something different today that you didn't do the day before, which that can also be said with changing up your environment. It's healthy, it is helpful, and it gives results. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. But I appreciate you guys every week tuning in, subscribing, things like that. I do see you guys. I do appreciate it. And tune in next week for another episode of Pure Sessions. And that's it, guys. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, all over the place you can find me. So I feel like if you're not on here, you definitely will see me on there. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna stop this real quick. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so I had to like stop it like real quick before it ended. Like I said, it only lets you do 30 minutes, so I was under 30 minutes. But before I go, I just wanted to say I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, and Anchor, all that jazz. You can find me at Lana Pure for Pure Sessions, as well as my previous episode of the Jam Sack session is out. You can catch that on YouTube as well as Instagram. And the song I did this week was Beauty and the Beast. So I had fun with that. But yeah, guys, that's about it. I hope you guys do something different tomorrow, because I know this weekend is 4th of July and you guys be safe. I know with COVID and like I said earlier, things being lifted, everyone wants to just be out around people and doing whatever. Just be safe. Be careful, be safe. It still is COVID. I mean, not like it just went away. We wish it did, but it didn't. But just be safe and be smart. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. It's supposed to rain, but still, try to have a safe weekend. But yeah, guys, that's about it. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.